In 1987, an extraterrestrial spacecraft, a colossus of cold, unknown metal, emerges from the blackness of the cosmos and looms over Earth, its presence a harbinger of unimaginable horrors. Silent, like a predator lurking in the shadows, it releases a module that tears through the atmosphere with an infernal roar, crashing in some lost corner of Central America, where the dense, pulsating jungle hides secrets that chill the blood. Days later, Major Alan Dutch Schaefer, a battle-hardened U.S. Special Forces officer, lands in Guatemala with determination weighing on his heart and a team of elite soldiers, men of steel forged in the crucible of war. His mission is clear: rescue a minister from the Guatemalan presidential cabinet, trapped in the depths of a jungle that seems to devour all hope, captured by a savage guerrilla force that reigns in the darkness. But the shadow of betrayal creeps among them when George Dillon, a former brother-in-arms of Dutch, now a CIA agent with eyes cold as ice, presents himself as a liaison officer. With a smile that conceals dark motives, Dillon joins the team, disregarding Dutch's protests, whose distrust grows like an open wound. Dutch, Dillon, and the soldiers Mac, Billy, Blaine, Poncho, and Hawkins, men marked by visible and invisible scars, board a helicopter that throws them into the heart of a jungle that breathes hostility. Every step is a challenge, every shadow a reminder that something is watching them, something that does not belong to this world. The mission, steeped in urgency and danger, turns into a battle against an invisible enemy, while the echoes of an ancient terror resonate among the trees, whispering promises of death. Soon, the soldiers stumble upon the wreckage of the minister's helicopter, a twisted mass of metal lying like an open grave. Beside it, the corpses of the two pilots, their faces frozen in grimaces of agony, seem to scream silent warnings. But what they find further ahead paralyzes them: mutilated bodies, hanging from the trees like offerings to a sadistic god, their torn flesh and exposed bones forming a macabre dance. Dutch, his stomach twisted and his chest tight, recognizes these men: Green Berets, comrades who once shared laughter and training at Fort Bragg, now reduced to trophies of an inhuman slaughter. The jungle, with its oppressive silence, seems to mock their horror. Despite the fear gnawing at their bones, the squad advances, driven by the mission and the instinct for survival. Finally, they reach the guerrilla camp, a nest of vipers hidden in the undergrowth. With lethal precision, they attack by surprise, unleashing a hell of bullets and blood. The insurgents fall like flies, along with a Soviet intelligence officer clutching confidential documents whose value is tainted with betrayal. Only one guerrilla fighter, her eyes filled with defiance and terror, is spared and taken prisoner. But the truth emerges like a knife in the darkness when Dutch confronts Dillon. With a voice heavy with contempt, Dillon confesses the rescue mission was a cruel lie, a setup to retrieve those documents. The slaughtered bodies in the jungle belonged to a previous team, sent to their deaths without mercy. Betrayal cuts deeper than any machete, and the jungle, a silent witness, tightens its deadly embrace, knowing that something far worse lurks in the shadows. Dragging the prisoner, whose eyes reflect a barely contained panic, the team moves toward the extraction point, their hearts pounding to the rhythm of a funeral drum. They remain unaware that the jungle, with its suffocating embrace, hides a horror lurking in the shadows. An invisible presence, a formless predator, slips between the trees, watching them with eyes devoid of mercy, eyes that do not belong to this world. Its alien technology turns the heat of their bodies into a map of death, marking every heartbeat, every drop of sweat, as if the jungle itself were conspiring to deliver them. Billy, his instincts sharpened like a knife, feels the weight of that inhuman gaze. A chill runs down his spine like an icy current. He halts the group with a sharp gesture, his face tense, as though he has smelled death itself. In a moment of chaos, the prisoner, seizing the terror that paralyzes them, attempts to flee, her desperate steps echoing in the undergrowth. Hawkins, driven by duty, rushes after her, but before he can reach her, the invisible entity strikes. A blinding flash pierces the gloom, followed by a strangled scream that lodges itself in their souls. Hawkins falls, his body ripped from the earth by the creature, dragged into the darkness like a defenseless prey. The woman, trembling and on the verge of collapse, remains alive by a cruel twist of fate, her eyes reflecting the horror of what she has just witnessed. Dutch, his voice broken by fury and fear, orders his men to find Hawkins' body, but the jungle seems to mock them, closing around them like a living trap. Blaine, confident and oblivious to the terror looming over them, is the next to fall. A beam of energy, brilliant, supernatural, slices through the air with a whistle that freezes the blood, snatching his life in an instant. Mac, his heart shattered, rushes toward his friend, only to catch a glimpse of the enemy, a humanoid silhouette, a specter blending into the vegetation, as if the jungle itself had come alive to hunt them. Enraged by grief and fury, Mac unleashes a storm of bullets, gripping Bland's minigun with trembling hands. The rest of the team joins him, tearing the jungle apart with fire and lead, a desperate frenzy against an enemy they cannot comprehend. But the creature escapes, elusive as a ghost, though not unscathed. A trail of green blood, glowing like alien venom, stains the leaves, a secret the prisoner keeps in silence, her lips sealed by the terror of what she knows. The squad, now teetering on the edge of panic, realizes they are not facing a human enemy. Something unknown, relentless, is hunting them one by one, and the jungle, with its suffocating embrace, is its accomplice. Barely recovering from the horror, Dutch orders his men to lay traps throughout the area, a desperate attempt to regain control in a jungle that seems to conspire against them. In a tense exchange, Dylan insists their enemy is just another guerrilla, but Billy, his gaze lost in the darkness, contradicts him with chilling certainty: it's not human. His words drop like thunder, stirring nervous laughter and a silence that hangs heavy as death. Under the oppressive mantle of night, the soldiers stand guard, their nerves stretched to the limit. Suddenly, a snap breaks the silence. A trap has sprung. Mac, convinced it's the invisible hunter, lunges into the darkness and drives his knife into a boar, which howls in agony. But relief is fleeting. As they check the perimeter, they discover Bland's mangled body has vanished, as if the jungle itself had claimed him. The traps, useless, reveal a terrifying truth: their pursuer detects them, moves through the trees like a specter, and hunts them one by one, collecting trophies in a macabre game. Anna, the captive guerrilla fighter, breaks her silence and confesses that the creature was wounded in the first encounter. Dutch, a flicker of hope in his eyes, mutters, "If it bleeds, we can kill it." With renewed determination, Dutch devises a more primitive trap, using the jungle as an ally. As they prepare the bait, Anna shares a legend that has haunted her since childhood: a demon that collects men as trophies. Her words sow a fear no one dares admit. Dutch, tired of waiting, offers himself as bait, exposing himself in a reckless act of defiance. The creature emerges, triggering the trap, but escapes with inhuman agility, leaving Pancho gravely wounded as it flees. Dutch, Billy, and Anna drag Pancho toward the extraction point, while Mac and Dylan rush off to hunt the predator. But the jungle is a slaughterhouse, and both fall to the enemy's cunning and ferocity, an entity that seems to anticipate every move. Billy, in a final act of solitary bravery, stays behind with his combat knife, ready to face the inevitable. His scream is swallowed by the night, and his body is never found. The creature catches up to the survivors. Pancho dies under a searing blast of energy that illuminates the jungle with an infernal glow, and Dutch is wounded. A sudden revelation strikes him: the monster only attacks those who are armed. He shouts for Anna to run to the helicopter while he flees, his heart pounding like a war drum. After a grueling chase, Dutch tumbles down a slope and into a waterfall, emerging covered in mud on the riverbank. Thinking he has escaped, his relief shatters when the creature appears behind him. Hidden among the foliage, the water reveals its silhouette, a towering humanoid, its futuristic helmet gleaming, with a shoulder-mounted cannon humming with deadly intent. The mud-coating Dutch renders him invisible to the hunter's thermal vision, and frustrated, the alien moves away into the darkness. With time against him, Dutch crafts primitive weapons: bows, spears, stakes, while the creature collects trophies from his fallen comrades. As night falls, he smears himself with mud and lets out a war cry that reverberates through the jungle, igniting a bonfire as a challenge. The creature responds, falling into Dutch's traps. In a brutal duel, Dutch destroys its camouflage but barely wounds it. Physically outmatched, he is at the monster's mercy. In a chilling gesture of respect, the predator discards its cannon and helmet, revealing an alien face with mandibles that seem to grin at death. In close combat, Dutch is overpowered, but he lures the creature toward his final trap. With cunning, he activates a counterweight that crushes the alien, leaving it mortally wounded. Kneeling before the creature, Dutch, panting, asks, "What are you?" The being eerily mimics his voice and activates a device on its wrist, laughing with Billy's manic laughter. Dutch realizes too late it's a bomb. He sprints desperately as a devastating explosion lights up the jungle, consuming everything in its wake. Miraculously, he survives. A helicopter, having already rescued Anna, finds him in a state of shock, lifting him out of a nightmare he will never forget.